Okay, we're going to go live. We're going live. It's hilarious. I'm just waiting for it to show up. Okay, here we go. Me put my headset on. My goodness. Okay, we're going to go live. We're going live.
Camera live.
What a day. Hello, hello, hello. Let me fix this here. This is Adrienne. Oh, wow. This is Adrienne, Capricorntigress of Astrology, ALookInside.com. And I'm here with some beautiful ladies here with our podcast today. We've got Brenda Bailey, Elizabeth, is it Knittel?
No, it's Knittel.
Knittel. Okay, I'm so glad you told me. I would have been saying it wrong the whole time. Knittel. And Lisa Thompson. So we've got three beautiful ladies here that are going to talk about their businesses, what they do, their spiritual journey. And we're going to find out a little bit more about them. So I'm going to start with Brenda Bailey, because her name is first, and I usually go in alphabetical order. And Brenda Bailey is known as your revenue accelerator with 13 integrative healing certifications. She has operated a 7-figure business and has been an entrepreneur for 30 years. She's blended her practical experience as a successful entrepreneur along with her integrative healing practices that allow people to have quick income transformations in her Elevate to Accelerate and electrical expansion programs. Brenda's work in the world is to help break down the barriers and to help you heal and to get to your true zone of genius and to serve people who need her gifts. Or your gifts and make a lot of money doing it. So that's great, Brenda. We all need people like you in our lives. One of the things she said is that she's proud that she has a model that you can be successful and make money with a spiritual based business. And we're going to talk a little bit about that because that is an issue for a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs about making money with their spiritual based business. So we're going to talk a little bit more with Brenda in a little bit, but she is amazing. One of the things she says is that she thinks that what she does or with people, it really makes it easy to change and have permanent change. And she's been doing this for 16 years as a business. And the amount of people who have been able to work with her and allow them to have that experience that, she's been doing it for a while. She says there are only 2 states she haven't traveled through in the United States. We were talking about the states before you guys got on. North Dakota and Maine. She's been an entrepreneur for 30 years. So what an amazing person. There's so much more about her. We'll talk about that. But I also want to introduce to you Dr. Lisa Thompson. And Dr. Lisa Thompson is of the company Mystic. Is it Manata? How do you say that?
Manta, like Manta.
Manta. Mystic Manta. And she has a podcast, Connection to the Cosmos, with Dr. Lisa Thompson. And you can also find her at drlisajthompson.com. And she says, aloha, Adrienne. So she is from Hawaii. She's got the Hawaiian flavor. Dr. Lisa is a best-selling author, a speaker, a galactic ambassador, an intuitive transformational coach specializing in human design and past life regression. She supports and empowers women to intentionally design their best life by living from their yes so they can embrace self-love, trust their intuition, and gracefully move toward their best or through their fears to take inspired action to live the life they love. Lisa is the best-selling author of Sacred Soul Love, manifesting true love and happiness by revealing and healing blockages and limitations. and soul spaces, designing your personal oasis. Her newest book is Connection to the Cosmos, Remembering Your Galactic Heritage and Embracing Your Oneness. Oh, we have so much to talk about. Oh my gosh. She is a frequent contributor for Aspire magazine, a sought-after media guest and virtual event speaker, and has shared the virtual stage with many leading visionaries, including Martha Beck, Neil Donald Walsh, Dr. Sue Morter, Greg Broaden, and Dr. Bruce Lipton. Heard of these people. She has created 8 oracle decks and designs intentional jewelry inspired by her passion of travel and nature. She loves teaching online classes and leads retreats in her home state of Hawaii. She also leads night sky watch UFO tours on the Big Island of Hawaii. So for more information, you can find out more by visiting her at drlisajthompson.com. And we're definitely going to come back and talk much more with you about that. But we've got to listen to Elizabeth Knittel, right? Knittel. I'm going to get it. Knittel. I've got it. Okay. So Elizabeth, tell me a little bit more about you, because I don't have the media press release or info bio on you. I want to know everything we can about you.
Well, that can be a lot. We could be here for a while. I am it's a lot. I am a healer. So I'm an intuitive healer. I'm a Reiki master, and I'm a certified life coach, but I really call myself a spiritual mentor. I use all of the life coaching skills, but really everything that I do and have done is very spiritually based. I'm really, really, really passionate about whole body wellness and like wellness from the inside out and the outside in. When clients work with me, and I have multiple ways, whether it's just an energy healing session, or whether it's a course or private one-on-one, my clients experience those immediate results but we get to the root. So just like with Brenda, they're lasting results, because it's not like you're just skimming over the top. You're really going down deep to get to the root. So sometimes we get a little nitty gritty, but we really, my clients create in their lives miracles and quantum leaps. And I have such a passion for the work that I do and self-love. Once I had my spiritual awakening, it became aware. I've been an esthetician for 16 years. And so I've been healing with my hands essentially for a very long time. And I just thought I was really good at what I did and very passionate about it. And then when I realized that I had the gift of laying hands, it made sense why my results were so powerful and why I loved every second of what I did. And it was a very, very natural movement.
Beautiful. And it's just, you had no idea you had this gift of the hands. And it suddenly you realized it was more powerful than you thought.
Right. And I had clues. I had awakenings that I just didn't realize to what level until I guess about 2019. And then it was like whoa, it's a major life change. But it was the most peaceful, like, awareness that just washed over me. And it was like, you've always been like this, but now you're aware. If that makes sense.
It does. It does. What's amazing about all three of you women, all of us here, is that we're all on this spiritual journey, this spiritual path, this knowledge, right, that we've either gained through life, and now we're sharing this knowledge, this passion with other people. I wanted to give each one of you an opportunity to talk about how you affect other people's lives. Brenda, I want to start with you since we're going in alphabetical order. Tell me how your work has influenced the lives of other people from a spiritual viewpoint.
Well, I think that as entrepreneurs, we are our business. So if that's something that, and what I really do say is if you want to know what you need to work on, become an entrepreneur, right? So, I mean, it's its own spiritual journey. That's the thing. That's why, if it was easy to be an entrepreneur, everybody would do it. And then you really do have to look within yourself. So I feel the most successful people are willing to look spiritually and look within themselves. And I know, at the very beginning, as we were talking here at the very beginning, before we went live stream, I had a trade show sales company I started at a fairly young age. And so I traveled. That's why the only places I haven't been are North Dakota and Maine. And I say that includes Hawaii and Alaska, which are two of my favorite places. And so what I really realized is when I did deep work, which first started with emotional work, because again, when we look within ourselves, it just heightens us who we are spiritually. But I realized that when I did the deep work and was willing to step into it, my income would just double. So I knew that there was something to that if I was willing to dig. But what ended up happening is that I just sat back and said, well, I had the financial ability to be able to do all these workshops and retreats and to travel and take the time for it. And it was really hard, deep work. It was exhausting. And I thought there's got to be an easier way for people to get where I've gotten without having to do what I did. And I just love taking classes. So when I came across the modality theta healing, it's kind of like the heavens opened and the angels sang. And I was like, this is what I've been looking for. This is quick, easy, painless, permanent. But I just really want to help people have their businesses, because having been an entrepreneur for so long, I just feel like, if you can help people make money and support them in up leveling and making more money, it's not that what most people think or, mass consciousness is that the more money you have, the greedier you are. What I find is that the more money that people have, the more philanthropic they are. And that we're able to help people and we're able to, offer scholarships and mentor people and not be concerned about paying our mortgages or our car payments or, so that's really where the spirituality comes in for me. And, I always say, whoever I talk to, spirituality is different for everyone. So if we need to talk about God, we talk about God. If we need to talk about the goddess, we talk about the goddess. Right. It's all the same.
I love that you're talking about the money.
Right.
Right. So I'm at a point right now. No, I'm going to share this. I like being honest. I'm at a point where my finances are not right. I've got 3 clients. They have not even paid me. It's the 11th of the month. I just want to put this into perspective. So that's $600. They're supposed to be paying me every month. $197 each. No, it's not coming the way it's supposed to. I've got all these connections all over the yin yang and not making the money. So I want to know what it is. I know I come from poverty. I know that my mother died a pauper. I have a horrible story when it comes to money, but I know I can be out of that now because my daughter is done 6 figures and done better. So it skipped over me. I'm like, why? I work so hard. And maybe that's part of it. I've been trying not to work hard because I found out I'm a 6'2" generator and we're not supposed to push at all. Right. You do. So we're not supposed to push. We're supposed to relax and let it happen. Just go with the energy. Like, what is it you want to do? What makes you happy? Does this make you happy? Does that make you happy? And just do that thing, whatever that is. Well, it's made me lots of followers and groups with thousands of people, but I haven't figured out how to get them to pay me anything. I need help. I'm sure I'm not alone.
You're not. And I wish I could, I'm not sure. referencing like human design or something when you say that you're 6'2"? Okay, so
Right, that's the human design. I talk
because
about
I kind
all
of
of
figured,
it.
you know, when Dr. Thompson was like, when Dr. Lisa was, I was like, oh, that must be human design. Which
Me
I don't
too. It made me
know
want to like
about.
pull up my chart. I was like, oh, I don't know which I am. Let me see.
But you know, most people, that's the biggest thing that they do, because again, we look at the what mass consciousness does, right? And it's all about that hustle, working hard, pushing, and really we make more money when we allow and receive. And it's not that it skipped a generation, it's just that you gave your daughter a different experience. And so you stopped it, right? Because I'm sure that your parents or your mother came from parents who didn't have money, right? So what ends up happening is we have this survivor's guilt.
Right.
A lot of times we carry that. Some people, especially when we're talking about spirituality, some people believe that they have to be poor to be closer to God. They don't purposely believe it, but they live the life that supports that. It's an old monastic belief. It's an old monastic lifestyle that people
Almost
want to
the
get out
guilt.
of. And that's right. And the guilt, you know, I mean, I'm Hispanic. I mean, you want to talk about, I mean, if we're just going to talk about culture, try about a culture that doesn't want to talk about money. And if you make money, they kind of look at you like side-eyed.
Right.
That's what I've been around my whole life. And I understand that. That's why I don't talk about money. And it was really hard when he's like, okay, but I help people make more money. It's like I have to talk about it. And it's like, that's been a taboo subject in my family. We don't talk about it
at all.
And if you do, you're flaunting it.
Yeah.
Or if you show what you have, you're flaunting it.
Yes.
A lot of times people go through that. And a lot of people believe that it's because I work with people's cellular beliefs. Okay. So a lot of cellular beliefs that people hold are that it's a sin to make money as a healer. Right. And that, you know, and I came across that one for myself a couple of years ago. I've always made money. I mean, it's one thing that it's just part of who I am, right? Like I don't make money at the expense of others, but I don't have a problem making money, right? I had a sales company, so I came into this, and that's one of the biggest, you know, a lot of people are gifted healers, but they're not gifted salespeople or marketers. And that's what sets people apart and makes it different. Like when I was listening to you talk about all your followers, I don't have that many followers. I haven't really built a list. And over the years, I've had coaches that looked at me and go, how do you make money? Because I don't, you know, the thing is that we're moving into a new age, which I'm sure that both of these ladies can speak on, where we're moving into a more feminine age and how we present ourselves. And that's about that allowing and receiving. Yes. So then we don't have to push, or we don't have to show the mansion and the Maserati behind us. And we don't have to do this and we don't have to do that. It's like we just are in who we are and not apologizing for it, but not pushing it. And not, because a lot of times what that does is that makes people feel inadequate. Or that it's something that they can't aspire to have. And most of the time, quite frankly, when people do that, it's like that, because, you know, I've been behind the curtain with some people going, wow, everything they put online is bullshit. You know? And so I just kind of go, you know, so do I really need all those followers? I mean, I love that I'm being featured here by Adrienne, who has all these followers, right? But also the thing is too, Adrienne, is what I would say to you is, why aren't they on a recurring payment that you just automatically charge them? I
don't even know. And the thing is, it's not as though I don't know how to make money for other people. Like I've worked at companies, made them money. Right. So
there is a disconnect for most.
There's something that happened in my life. Now, I don't know what it was. I don't know why. But doing this for myself, I've been not making the money, and it's driving me crazy. It's got to stop.
Right.
It's got to stop. I mean, I've just got to figure out, like, what is this block? It came up obviously from somewhere. So I can see Elizabeth wants to say something. What is that?
No, I just was feeling.
Oh, okay.
But she gets it. Well, you know, here's the thing. I know that, I'm trying to think. I want to quote somebody, and I know her first name's Susan, and now her last name is going blank for me. But one of the things that she says is that money's not the most important thing, but it touches everything that is.
It's energy, right? And who doesn't want that energy?
Right.
Because you see, there's things you want. It takes away that.
because of past lives or because of inheritance, what we've inherited, it's in our DNA. We have these things where money's looked upon bad, or people don't understand the concept of money, or survivor's guilt, because if I move, then I'm going to leave you behind. I mean, oh my God, money, like weight and so many other things, is so multifaceted. But it's just that thing where, yeah, I'm going to hush because I want other people to be able to talk.
Yeah, it's an amazing, right? It's a money and spirituality is an amazing conversation. I've had them before, and it's just freaks me out that something obviously on a spiritual level must have happened, because I made money before. I worked at Career Builder. I got free trips to Hawaii and all those kind of things. I've done that. So I don't understand why it stopped when I started working.
Because people don't know the difference between service and servitude.
Mm.
And so a lot of times when we work for other companies, we're in service. But then when we work for ourselves, we switch it and we're in servitude.
Ooh. Yeah.
So, Adrienne, we can have another.
Oh, I love what you're saying right now, Brenda. Oh my gosh.
When I work with people, I mean, it's what comes up for people.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for 16 years and I see it. But a lot of times it's just that there are certain things that don't have anything to do with money. It has to do with non-forgiveness, has to do with trauma that are causing people to not make money. It's the things that you're not aware of. Because I tell you what, if I hear one more person tell me, well, I just am not worthy. It's like worthiness is a symptom. It's not what is going on here.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Disintegrate that.
Wow.
Alchemize and call in some worthiness frequencies and some love and freedom and, all of that. Because,
that could be an undercurrent message that I have. I mean, I'm working on that, but I don't tell people a lot about this. I do on my podcast. I say it all the time.
I think you just told a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I tell it all the time. But I used to be 500 pounds, and then I danced off 300 pounds. So I've been like around 200 pounds now for about 6 years. I would like to be smaller, but that's okay. I'm glad I'm alive because I'm almost 60 years old, and so I feel like I've done what I was supposed to do to survive. Right. There are a lot of people who are not here with me anymore. And so I'm proud of what I've done. But there are worthiness issues from back before I became who I am today.
Right. But there's something below that, right? Worthiness comes as a result. It's not what, that's not where you lead with. It's what has happened. It's a byproduct is what I want to say. And but I just want to pause for 1 second. Holy crap, like you lost that much weight. First off,
I was thinking like,
damn. And then second,
they're like streamers and kazoos because
girl, you look good. You were almost 60. You look amazing. I mean, I just want to pause and just say that.
Thank you. My daughter turns 36 in like 3 weeks. So it's just an amazing thing because she's starting to get older and her family and her husband's turned 40. And I'm thinking, wow, I guess I am getting older. I was 29 for 30 years. So
or I always had that thought, like everybody else is getting older, but me.
Isn't that the truth? You just see people. I see people I grew up with, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I'm like, look in the mirror.
Turning 50 this year, and I
just turned 40. Yes. And I'm like,
oh my God, I think that's the one thing that brings us all together. We look great, right?
We're all amazing.
I turn 58 tomorrow.
Oh wow, see, amazing.
Wow. So I'm a Leo too.
Leos. See, I usually say that to the end of the show. Now you guys have already told me. How many Leos am I sitting here with? 2 Leos. Already, you're quiet up there, but I don't know. She's got.
I'm just waiting to talk. I'm just waiting my turn. It's okay. I'm a Sag with a double Gemini moon and.
I love it. Right, you give off Gemini. Do you have Gemini rising or
Moon and ascendant.
a moon? Yeah, yeah. I was gonna, I usually guess, and I was gonna guess Gemini for you. Isn't that funny? So you're giving off Gemini. Yeah. Let's let Lisa talk. First of all, I want to hear from Lisa and then we'll get to you, Elizabeth, because I know you got a lot to say too. But Lisa, I want to talk about those 3 books. There was one book in particular I saw and I thought, oh, we've got to talk about this book, which was what is it? Revealing and healing blockages and limitations.
Yes.
Manifesting true love and happiness, sacred soul love. And you're saying in a way here that it's about healing blockages and limitation that helps us to get to love.
It does. But it also helps to get to the money issues. So,
oh my gosh, Lisa, I think we just hit on something. I swear.
So,
all of this started with my husband left me back in 2018. I lost my last bit of a child. I was 54, too old. So I almost died. 2 weeks after losing the baby, I was laid up on the couch. Man left. Never seen his face, heard his voice again. He's from England, so I never got to go there. He never moved here. I don't know if I'm still married or not. I've just not wanted to see any talk to it was just the way he did it. It was very narcissistic and weird. It wasn't normal. I've broken up with other people. I've had other marriages. So it wasn't weird. It was weird. But then I have Ho'oponopono'd it and I realized there's some kind of pain I don't know about. It's not just love them anyway, wish them the best and keep going. That's what I've done. Yeah. But I have noticed that at first, when it first happened, the first thing I noticed was in my astrology group. Now I'm just back up to like 500 now. I swear I was at 500 then. And then a mass exodus of people, as though my not being loved by him meant I couldn't be loved by anyone. Now, this could be just something I'm feeling, but that's pretty much when all the money and everything, I mean, I don't feel like, it's just like things stopped. I also have not started dating yet, but I've done lots of research on things like narcissism just to make sure I'm not one, or to fix it even if I am, right? But it's just the things that we look. I've tried to fix all of the spiritual stuff. I became a sacred soul alignment healer and a practitioner and all the things and got the certifications and learn all the stuff. But I'm still not making the money. So, okay, I want to get your take on this because of the blockages and limitations.
So, okay, well, I've been in a metaphysical household my entire life. So I grew up with all of this, and my mother was an astrologer, and then we got into the spiritual school of enlightenment. I have experienced a lot of modalities, and with all of the work that I did, so I kept having these abandonment issues, worthiness issues, self-love issues pop up in relationships throughout my life. And I was really good at like school and career and all of that, but not with the relationship stuff. And so first husband, narcissist, highly abusive, toxic. And then when I was divorcing him, I met husband number 2, not abusive in the same way, but egotistic, narcissistic, controlling, and wouldn't allow me to be who I am. But I had babies with each of them, or like one each, and I felt trapped. And so it was after 7 years of that second relationship, I'm like, okay, I cannot do this to myself anymore. And so I had to go really deep and figure out, okay, why am I'm the common denominator here. Yeah. And so obviously I've been attracting this into my life. You know, I don't want to, spiritually bypass thing like people, there's this whole thing now of, well, not everyone is a victim, or like calling it in. Yeah, but there's controversy over that, I think.
Yeah. But
anyway, but for me, I took responsibility. I'm the common denominator. And so I used all of the tools, techniques, skills that I had learned throughout my entire life. For almost 40 years at that point, that I just did deep dive healing, worked on myself, looked at the mirrors, because some of the qualities that these toxic relationships had, I'm like, where do I match that?
Yeah.
and where do I change it for myself? And then I learned past life regression therapy. And that is such a powerful method for getting to a root cause, because everything is buried in the subconscious mind, and we can pull that out and we can actually change it at the quantum level. And so there are all different kinds of modalities that can work to help you with this issue. And this is just one of many modalities that for me has really changed my life and my clients' lives in terms of, okay, so when it comes to money and worthiness, well, maybe in a past life, and it's actually a parallel life in the true quantum realm. In a parallel life, you might have experienced being persecuted for your spirituality, like maybe the witch trials, or something where you couldn't like make money and do that. And so when we do this modality, we're able to actually shift that for you. We can rewrite the story, we can change the meaning. When you get out of it, then you can start to rewire your brain. It actually just naturally happens. Where now you have a new experience, a new relationship with money, with your business, with people.
I love that. I love that. I feel like we do a little bit of that kind of work with sacred alignments, but not as deep as what you're saying here. And so many of us carry the witch's wound. I just wanted to just say that it's so common, right?
It is. It is.
I love what Dr. Lisa said, because if you want to spiritually bypass, guess what? It's going to keep coming until you're not willing to spiritually bypass.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that most of our wounds we're not aware of. Like, we'd like to think that we know about them in this lifetime, but we don't. We've either inherited it, we've had a different lifetime with it. And I love that, because what you're saying, Dr. Lisa, because so many people do past life regressions and then they just have information.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
It's like, that's not enough.
It's not enough.
Like, just having an explanation for why you do what you do doesn't do anything.
Right. It doesn't fix
you have
it.
to do the work to change it once you get that information. So I love that. And there's so many roads to get where you want to get, but you've got to heal what you know, right? It's beautiful.
It's the healing. It is. It's beautiful that you figured out how to do the healing, but two, that you made a book so that you shared this information with everyone.
I am. And part of it too is looking at our ancestral history, because we carry 14 generations through our epigenetic line. And so for one example of this is health in my family. So my granddaddy, he died at 65 of heart attack. My uncle Randy died at 65 of a heart attack. My mother had her heart attack at 65. She's still alive. And then my aunt, her sister, had a heart attack at 65 and is still alive. And so my cousins and I are like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So my one cousin whose mom had the heart attack, and I'm like, we're doing an ancestral clearing. We're getting root cause. And so fortunately, I know this, I got trained in this. And so I regressed her, and we pulled in the different ancestors, and we got to the root ancestor that had this self-love issue, because heart is all about self-love, anything but the heart. And so we got to that, and it was like a Viking ancestor. And we didn't even know we had Vikings in we know some of our lineage, but then when I did ancestry DNA, it turns out, we do actually have Vikings.
Oh, wow.
In fact, so it was pretty cool. And now, I'm the oldest of the cousins. And again, I'm turning 50 this year. So I've got another 15 years to be like, did we really make the change? But we did make the change. We're all making different environmental changes as well as like mindset changes.
That's beautiful. And just so that you know, I come from a family, it's 50 in my family. Like, you have to get past 50. If you can make it past 50, you might make it to 100. We had one made it 102. But so many die at 50, like on their 50th year. Right. My brother, 50th year. So Michael Jackson is 50th year. It's a thing, isn't it? The 50th year. So I'm not saying anything because I know you're the 50th year, but you're good. You're 65. 65 for the women. Now, you have mentioned about heart and that being self-love. What about stroke? Do you know anything about stroke?
It's the same.
Self-love.
Yeah.
We've got the stroke in our family. My grandmother had a stroke. My cousin Mert died of a stroke. My aunt, a couple of cousins, aunts died of strokes. My brother had 2 strokes.
Yeah, because if you think about the heart is the circulatory system and stroke is just blockage of that circulatory system.
So is that something your work can heal as well?
It can, yes. I'm not going to say, it has to be, people have to come out of it knowing that it actually worked, because if you go back to your old thinking patterns, then you're just going to recreate it again. So for instance, my mother, Nat, so she survived her heart attack, but then she got breast cancer at the beginning of COVID. She had her breast removed and now she's got cancer again in the other breast. So wow. That is self-love. That is like, so she won't be watching this, but anyway, she's still alive, but she's like, she keeps recreating these issues around self-love.
No spiritual bypassing. There you go. Right? We're just talking about that, right? I mean, that's what you say, you get to see that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's going to be our code word for the code phrase, no spiritual bypassing.
Well, and here's the thing, like what you're talking about as well, Adrienne, is what we look at things like culturally, like it's like, oh, in the Black culture, there's a lot of heart issues. Well, it's about the DNA, but not in the way that people think it's about the DNA. It's like, you're not inheriting that, just like with Dr. Lisa's family, it's not like you've inherited, to have a heart attack at 65 and die kind of thing. It's what all is behind that, what's beneath that. That's what you've inherited. And sometimes it looks cultural, but a lot of times it just is.
I think with my weight loss, here's the crazy thing about my weight loss. My brother died, as I mentioned, at 50, he was 400 pounds. I was 500. My mother died, she was about 300 when she died. And my daughter had been over 350 and she got the gastric bypass. So I feel like my weight loss was major because it was an example for my daughter what she wanted. And she ended up becoming Mrs. America or Mrs. USA, one of them. She went on a crazy path after her weight loss. It was amazing. And so I feel like that was something I ended it. I feel like I ended a curse when I lost. Does it make sense? When I lost my 300 pounds, not only did it affect my daughter, but I noticed my other cousins that were over 250 started emulating. I know they don't want to admit they were emulating, but there's very few of my cousins over 250 pounds now. It's like it started a trend.
Break it generational.
Yeah, you break a curse right in the family. I feel like that's what happens. Do you know, talk about that much in your books, Dr. Lisa?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And I am actually, one of the sections is looking at your health issues that you have, so that because your health, whatever underlying emotions that you're having is creating your health issues. It's it's your mindset environment. I love Dr. Bruce Lipton's work. I've been obsessed with him since the late 90s. And I used to teach his stuff when I was a professor. And so really understanding what that emotional state is underlying whatever illness is coming out can really help you figure out, oh, I do have a worthiness issue or self-love issue or whatever it may be. And there's a beautiful book that a lady named Ina Segal out of New Zealand wrote called The Secret Language of Your Body. And I use that kind of as a Bible. If I have any ailments, she expanded on Louise Hay's work of healing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like you can heal your life or what? Yeah.
And so she took that, but she really went into even more detail about it. And it just is really spot on. So it's an amazing book.
Right. Can you write her name down in chat so I can remember to get that? Yeah.
Yes.
I know I deal with worthiness issues. That's why when you girls are talking, I want to hear every word you're saying because I already know it's the issue that's behind everything. And I'm very open about that. But I was raped at 18 months. Not many people can say that nor know that, but I was taken into deep therapy, regression therapy, and I always knew, and thank goodness my mother was alive at the time, I was able to remember the house because it was a very strange house. It was a 3-story house. Like there was a main floor, then there was a second floor, then there was a third floor where they kept the children. I had an aunt who had 13 children. And so she had to have a very different type of house. So when I described the house, my mother's like, oh, that was XYZ Street. That was back when I was pregnant with Michael. She was telling me that, not to coddle you so much because I'm her only daughter, even to this, until she passed away. And so she was able to name the timing because there was a certain time that she was pregnant with Michael. Me and him were a certain amount of months apart. So she was able to pinpoint when I was exactly raped. And I was raped by a cousin. I always knew. And I blocked out the face of which cousin it is, but I know from the family of which from that family with the 3-story house. But that's part of it. So imagine everything comes from that, right? That's the first memory of life, if you will. So it's been hard to rearrange my life. I've had lots of therapy where, you go back in, you're the victor. So that's why I come and do big, bold moves, like, a whole podcast with TED Talks people, because I'm the victor, right? But inside there's that child who can barely talk. And yes, I did have a speech impediment. Right? Because she couldn't talk. No one understood. So just all of that. Anyway, I went
I had to laugh, Adrienne, because as you're talking, all of us are like going through our minds, like, this is what we would help her. This is how we would help her. This is how we would help her, right? Like we're all doing that. Like I can see all of our eyes that we're all doing that going, oh my God.
But I think that we're all in agreement that that's not where the problem started.
Right. Because this is the thing. If that happened to you, it happened to a lot of your family. And it happened to a lot of your ancestors. And it happened in a lot of past lives. I mean, it's like, it's not like, oh, it just happened here. Right. But that's what usually where people get caught up. And that's where they get to like, they just will.
But like anything, it's like, oh, I can see it, touch it, believe it. I know that this lighter lit my candle. And so this is the cause. And that, or whatever.
That's why people have the biggest problems in being able to change, because they only have their frame of reference of what they know to change. And that's why when working with somebody spiritually makes the biggest difference, because we can go where they don't know that they need to go.
Yes. Where it's and it's unimaginable to most people that you can go. And Lisa, I have to tell you, like, I'm so jealous that you grew up knowing this like your whole life, because it has been this world that has opened to me. And like it felt like a long time. My teachers like, they wouldn't tell me any book names or anything. It was like, you just have to work and the keys are inside of you. And I was like, where are they? Where? But recently I heard this analogy, and I've always really related easily with analogies and metaphors. But being in the video game age, I don't play video games, but like when people start to play a video game, you get to pick your avatar, and your avatar is perfect, and they are usually very beautiful or very handsome, and they're very strong, and they have like, you can pick from like sets of skills or sets of weapons or sets of magic or sets of you really get to pick out this perfect 100% avatar, and then you start the game and you start playing. But like when we're born like about maybe 40%, because we have generational trauma, we have past life trauma, plus you have birth trauma. Like you have stuff that you've like gone through already that plus all your chromosomes and your mental and everything is forming, and your root chakra, and that's when your chakra system starts to get formed, really 0 to 7 forms your root chakra, and on up, and but plus the other stuff. And so we have different body systems, like in the your emotional body, which is your astral body on the astral plane, can have energy leaks, or can have just all these different things can be going on with that, or your mental body, or your spiritual body, or that all happens way before something hits your physical body. Everything happens energetically, and everything heals energetically way before. Like, we're in the 3D are the slowest to catch up to any sort of healing, or any sort of change, or even any sort of trauma happens in the energetic field before we ever experience it in the the 3D 4D world that we know.
Yeah, I believe that, and I always joke that in the vortex I'm a millionaire, and I'm pretty sure like I know it's coming. Like, you don't just do all the stuff I do and it's not coming. It's coming.
It is. Well,
it's there.
So I want to speak to you being a 6-2 generator.
Oh, yeah.
I am a 6-2 generator.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you sacral or emotional authority?
I am emotional, as far as if I remember.
Okay. So like you said, as generators, our job is just to put ourselves out in the world. We are vortexes pulling things in. We just have to be out in the world, and things will come our way. And it's our job to then respond to that inner authority. So I'm sacral. So my gut speaks for me. So if my gut is like, then I know I have to do it, even though I don't know how I'm going to make it happen. Like moving to Hawaii in the middle of COVID. That was a sacral thing, saying yes. Leaving my second ex-husband was a second, like starting my spiritual business. It was like fully sacral, is like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't know.
I have to look at my human design. I might be sacral, but I don't know.
Okay.
But
so
you follow the gut. Follow the gut.
Also, in quantum mechanics, I love quantum mechanics, and it's with parallel lives, past lives. All timelines exist simultaneously, and so I actually channel a group of ETs, the Arcturians, and one of their messages right now for everyone is like, choose the timeline you want to exist in, because like right now the world is so polarized, right? So choose the timeline that has your greatest, highest good, and just keep trusting that you are in that beautiful timeline. So for you, that money is there. So just be in that timeline where that exists already, because it already does.
It's so funny that you're saying this, Dr. Lisa. I kid you not. Many years ago, I went to a retreat, and I don't remember the name of it, but it was amazing. It was like a 5-day retreat. And inside of it helped us to find out where our, trying to think of the word, but it's my sacred, like my hidden, it's my castle, my mansion, or my secret hidden mansion. And so I can go to that hidden secret mansion whenever I need to. And I live there. I do. It's beautiful. I have a beautiful mansion. It's gorgeous. And I've been seeing it now for years, for 20 years, almost 30 years. And it's funny, now that I live in Seattle, I realize it looks like one of the houses up on the hill here in Seattle. So I'm like, wow, I guess I would need a certain amount of millions. So in my mind, I secretly have been planning how many millions it would take me to get my house. I figured 3 million should do it. But the fact that my mind is already thinking about it, like, and putting it into place, how many of this I would need to sell, and how many of that I would need to do. It's kind of crazy, right?
That's actually what I understand about true creating your reality and manifestation that I've been doing since I was 13, of like, It's not about you. You're not supposed to know the steps. It's just, what is the end goal? It's this or something better. And let the universe bring it to you, bring those steps, because it could be something completely different than how you think it's going to happen. Right, Brenda?
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing, which is why I created that modality that works with the electrical system of the body, because our brains limit it. And that's why a lot of people don't even take the first step, because they don't know what all the steps are. And it's like, you just have to know the next one, and you have to know the last one. Like, where do you want to end up, and what's your next step? That's it. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, when you start breaking it down or figuring it out, it's kind of like because if you talk to me about numbers, and believe me, I'm really good at math, but if you talk to me about numbers, or like numbers of sales or whatever, it's not going to happen. But if I just know what my intention is and what I want the end result to be, and then I allow it, right? Because it's all here, right? What we're talking about.
Yeah.
But our traumas, our non-forgiveness, our cellular beliefs are blocking it. So it's like, people can give you the steps, like what you're talking about, but if you don't heal what's blocking it, it's not going to fall in your lap. Like, that it's possible to fall in your lap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And I do sense sometimes I might be blocking.
You think?
You are, your reality is showing you that.
Right.
I catch myself like, why didn't you do that? Like, I actually feel myself blocking the money. I can feel it. Like, I know there's resistance. There's resistance.
So do you know what that fear is? The fear of the money?
Is it the change I fear?
I don't know. Or maybe how your family perceives you, or
Oh, well, that's a given. I've lost almost, not that they're gone, but I feel like, I don't know. They're just not hands-on anymore. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So some people, and what's interesting is, like, the higher vibration we put off, that we are elevating in our life, there are people that naturally fall away from us because they cannot handle that vibration, and they're not meant to be there. And
oh my gosh, that's
when
so
you were talking
funny.
about your followers, that's exactly what I was thinking was going on. I'm like, well, you lost them because they're not ready to support you to go to your next level.
Right.
It's not that you lost them because you lost love. You lost them because you lost a love that wasn't working for you, that wasn't going to support you in the next thing. You lost the followers that weren't going to support you in that. And now you're building it back up in a different way for people to support you. So me and Dr. Lisa, we're like,
hey, we are.
because it's like, that's exactly what's going on. And how you do anything is how you do everything. Right. So to go, it's that thing. I always say, if I help people personally, I help them professionally, vice versa. If you help somebody with money, you're going to help them with physical, it just isn't, it's all the same. Yeah. And that's why I always just look at going, okay, this is what's going on for people. But again, everybody wants to make it about a worthiness issue, or everybody, because that's what they know. It's like, that's what's in the books. That's what they hear, that's how it is. And I really thought that you were going to ask Dr. Lisa about her book, about her newest book that she
we never got that far. We just got stuck.
Because
money.
Well, no, but I was just like laughing because I was like, oh, I'm excited about that one.
Yeah.
What I know, and having worked with people for 16 years, is that a lot of people come in and they have their past has been an intergalactic being, or their past has been an angel. And there are just certain things that they're experiencing as a result of that in this 3D world. Yeah. So,
I mean, I love that conversation. Can we talk about that a little bit? Because there's starseeds, there's light workers, or there's so many different types of spiritual beings here. And I believe that there are certain ones of us that are here to make a difference in a dark place. That's why we're here. Yes. And
it's getting dark right now, girl. So
yes, I mean,
we're all here together.
Yes, like the reason why we're all here. Yes, I really believe that with all my heart, all my soul, that we're here to bring joy and to help people who would otherwise not find it anywhere, because it's hard. You know, we know each other because of our light.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I was so excited to be here because I just love getting together with other spiritual women, and this is my language, and I can speak this. You know, I could talk about this all day, every day, and I just want to, you know, pick everybody's brain, but then have these like flowing conversations because, I mean, since I heard the word starseed, I was like, I'm that. And then then I had like some beautiful like Akashic realignments and things, and worked with people, and it's very obvious to me now, like some of the planets that I like am from, and it's because it just makes sense and everything just lines up, and it just is in such an alignment and with who I am. And I don't know about y'all, but so I'm very highly empathic, and so I was just kind of, you know, like that weird kid who would just burst out into tears, or you know? And I didn't want to feel all of those feelings, and so developed a terrible eating disorder and battled addictions for 18 years. And because I just didn't want to feel, I couldn't handle the feelings. And it's once that I recovered from my eating disorder when I got pregnant initially. And that was a miracle. That was a white light, spiritual awakening. And then when I got sober, everything else just, you know, woke up, and it was like all these feelings, and I was like, oh, these are my people. And then when I had the spiritual awakening, I was like, oh, these are my people. And then with the starseeds, I'm like, oh, this, you know, and just to have that is so, it's so wonderful, because forever I felt like, God, I just don't fit in. I don't belong. I'm like weird. I cry all the time. I have weird laugh. You know, just those funny things like being a kid. But then later it's like, you just checking all the boxes on the, you know, could this possibly be you? And it was just such a relief to be not alone.
Well, I think that I love what you said Elizabeth, as far as like, I think that was one of the big things that came as a result of the quarantine and the pandemic, was that people have stayed really busy and not really facing things or looking at things. And then they had to sit still. And, you know, as an empath, right? Because most people are empaths. It's just the level or degree that they are. And people were having to face like, oh my God, there's all of this anxiety and fear and sadness. And I'm feeling everybody's, including myself. I mean, we can all handle our own emotions. I mean, to a degree, right? With some help or learning out or whatever. But it's like when you exponentially pile on what everybody else is feeling, yeah, of course, you're going to have addictions and you're going to want to escape, because it's
it's too much. I don't interact with other people, really. I don't. I interact online. I have thousands of people I know online, and of course my daughter and my son-in-law, you know, for real. But real life, no. It's hard for me to shoulder to shoulder. It is with the normal person. I don't know about everyone else.
Well, that's because you're a 6'2". You're a role model hermit. Like
I'm a role model hermit.
The two.
I love it. I looked mine up. I'm a 5'1". I'm a 5'1" pure generator.
You're a generator too. I love it.
Well, yeah, and I feel like that it's that feel like, are you an introvert? Like, I think that people think that introverts are like socially awkward, or they, you know, are on the spectrum or something, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, do you like, I grew up in San Antonio, Texas. I come from a huge extended Hispanic family. where, you know, like it was somebody's birthday every weekend, a small family gathering with 30 people.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's that kind of thing. It's like, that's what I grew up around. And both me and my sister kind of like, we don't really like to be around that many people as an adult, right? But as children, we, you know, like, so I can do that. I just choose not to do it now.
Yeah.
Seriously, the whole world going virtual and everything was like amazing for me. I'm like,
Yeah.
I love this. I don't want to not do this. I mean,
Yeah.
I am social, you know, I'm having a birthday party tomorrow, you know, luncheon, that kind of thing with my closest friends type deal and people that I love. But it's like, it's a choice.
Yeah.
And I think that the pandemic, the quarantine made it okay to not be so social, to not have to constantly be busy, to, you know, all of that of like what you were talking about, Elizabeth, that's amazing, right? And I think that people had their biggest spiritual awakenings if they wanted to, if they didn't want a spiritual bypass, right? That was, I think, part of what the plan was for what was going on.
I
mean,
really believe that.
I think the spiritual plan, I don't think it was like the governmental plan, or, you know, we don't have to go there into my conspiracy theories or anything like that. But it's like, I think there were other reasons, but I think what ended up happening was the greater good for everyone was to reach that spirituality, you know. And what I find is that a lot of times when you're talking to spiritual people or people who do holistic or alternative, they don't know how to connect. There is a lot of competition. It's what I love about this right now. It's like, you know, I feel like, you know, we're like at a spiritual view, you know, the view, you know, what we're doing, except we don't
Right. That's the way I like it to
what
be.
I mean,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
so we're just sharing and we're going around and we support each other and agree with what people are saying instead of trying to make somebody wrong, or the way I do it is much more effective, or however that. It's like there are many roads to get.
There's
you know,
many modalities.
there are many roads
many.
to get. Just depends on the speed, the length, who you resonate with, what your past life and your DNA, you know, connects with. It's like all of that. And that's what I really love, because I find that a lot of times it can be dog eat dog. And it's like, I don't, it's my dog who wants to get up in my lap.
And Brenda, that's the old male paradigm. That's
right.
And now it's time for the divine feminine. It's rising.
Yes.
We have the collaborative model of business rather than the competitive model. And that's what my whole world now is about. Like, there's no one in my business world that is that competitive.
Yeah.
Anything that in my former life of being a scientist, competing for the jobs.
Yes.
In mortgage industry, competing for the business. And then I was an interior designer for 12 years, competing for the job.
Yeah.
I mean,
my background's in sales. You want to talk about competition and dog eat dog? Oh,
I was in sales and advertising. Like I said, it was dog eat dog.
So this
collaboration is much better.
We can
it is. And it's even
everybody can get what they need and what they desire.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I feel like there's enough for everybody.
Right. That's when you have that limitation, or there's not enough to go around. Right. That's that belief. That's where people are pulling from. Well, if I don't get it, or if you get it, then I won't get it. It's like, we can all get it. Yes.
And you know what I love is that each one of us heals or helps in some way, but the way we do it is different in our own way. So we each bring something new to the table to help inform, enlighten, and heal other people. It's a beautiful thing. It's gorgeous. So this is something I like to do because I can't believe we're already an hour in. So this is what I wanted to ask each one of you. I wanted to give each one of you an opportunity to say something that you may not have had an opportunity to say yet, or, you know, whatever it is you want to express or share. If you've got a product sale, whatever it is, I'm going to leave it up to you. I'm going to do it backwards this time. I'm going to start with Dr. Lisa Thompson, and we'll start with you.
Okay. Well, I guess we didn't touch much on the galactic thing, but that's something that I've been able to finally come out of the closet after being in the mainstream industry for so long, where I've been an experiencer of UFOs and aliens my entire life. And I have such a strong connection with different groups, but the strongest group I have are the Arcturians, and I do now channel them through writing and vocal. And the message, their agenda working through me is really to spread the message of love and unity. And, as soon as we hit fifth dimension, there is no more polarity. And so we are still we're on the verge of getting there, but it gets dark before the dawn comes. And we are in that really dark place right before this beautiful awakening of fifth dimensional reality, where there's instant manifestation and everything is love. We are all connected. We all come from the same source. So my new book, all that
Connection to the cosmos.
Yeah, and it's available on Amazon, and my official launch is August 30th. But
and Dr. Lisa, can you put the link in the chat for me here so I can share it with our YouTube followers?
Yes, I will do that. And
yeah.
Basically, my whole mission now is to change the fear-based narrative that the government, media, and Hollywood are perpetrating, that they have for many years, whether it's has to do with COVID, politics, or the galactics. That is not reality. There are timelines that exist where we are already at that love plane. So we just have to be it. Joy and love.
I love it. And I love that you're a Sagittarius. And I love that you've got the aliens behind you in multiple colors. It's so wonderful. Thank you. So we are going to talk to Elizabeth next. And we're going to find out what Elizabeth wants to share with our audience. What would you like to share that you haven't had a chance to share yet?
Well, I just, I feel like a lot of people will hear the term healer and they think, well, I'm not broken. And that's really not what being a healer is about. It's really about, and that's, but it's not just life coaching. That what I do when I work, it's really going in and having conversations and really working from the inside out and the outside in, but splitting your 4 vehicles: your spiritual body, your emotional body, your mental body, and your physical body, and working on each layer energetically, as well as going through and giving that spiritual mentoring, and then going through with the Akashic and and looking into past lives to really get to the root of whatever's going on, whether it's a bind or a block, or if it's money or if it's a relationship, and a lot of times it's all combined, really, and helping to transmute and to clear. And I use alchemy, and I use Reiki, and all sorts of different energy healing modalities that just all come together to help create this beautiful, incredible transformation that is always this or something better. And it's always the or something better. And developing that true connection when I work with clients, my number one priority is that they feel seen and loved and heard, because everybody needs that seen and loved and heard, because so many of us do have trauma.
Yes.
We all have trauma. It just depends on what your trauma looks like and what you want to call it. But there is that way to get through it with ease and dignity and grace. And you can be the light is really what I am. And it's just like taking a flashlight and help shining it into the shadows, because the dark only is where the light hasn't been able to shine yet. And so really being a part of the light worker movement that helps to raise the vibration of the planet to 5D, so that we can move forward, so that when we come back, we have a beautiful planet to come back to.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing your information. And Elizabeth, I don't know if can you put your link in the chat too, so our audience can find out how they can support you? Because I know I don't have that from you. And if you have social media, even that's fine as well. Okay. So Brenda, we are going to hear from Brenda Bailey next. And just share with us anything you just would like to share with our audience that you might not have shared, or something you like to get across, make sure that they know about.
Well, just so I don't know whether or not you're going to be asking this or not, but I know some of the ladies mentioned it. So I'm Leo, okay, and Pisces rising,
Ah,
and Libra moon. Okay.
ah.
Yeah. Okay.
I love it.
But I created what I realized during the pandemic is that like I said, it felt like people's brains were shrinking, and I felt like their electricity needed to be reactivated because we actually turn it off at a very young age, around 6, for whatever reason. People are always like, why do we do that? I'm like, probably something we inherited or from a past life or whatever that is. We just do it. And probably why we only use 11% of our brain. But I created a technique that actually reactivates the electricity, your electrical system, and it helps with manifesting because it gets the brain out of the way with it, but it also helps with focus, sleep. I mean, there are just a lot of benefits that people get from it, whether they just feel like they have a regular brain. I don't know who that is, but if you feel that way, or if you have like ADD or ADHD or brain injury or dyslexic, there's just a lot of things that can be done through electricity that will just open it up. So I do have a master class that I do for free, but the best place to start off with it is the free audio. And then I know that if it happened like on the 11th, that these are people that I'll make that offer for the free master class because you follow Adrienne. There's the benefit of it.
Yes. I love that, ladies. I love that so much. And definitely, I want to make sure you share the link where they can begin the journey with you, because that's a journey I think even I want to take. I mean, it's funny. We don't think about the fact that our brain doesn't have the electricity, or we lost something since we were 6. But I do seem to remember I had more coming in like 5, 6 years old that I can recall. And I don't know if I get the same type of messages from the universe like I used to. Like I said, I saw my mansion, my castle I talked about. I don't know if I told you this. I first saw it at 5, 6 years old.
Well, I always tell the story like when I was 3, I thought I had created the concept of reincarnation. Like I thought I was the one who like figured that out because I would see in my dreams, like my family in different aspects in different lives. And I remember I was so angry when I saw a television program on it, and I was like, they stole my concept, at 3, right? But I learned, at a really young age, like I don't talk about that kind of stuff, right? Or my family.
When we're young, it's funny. I think we're tapped in to something greater than we realize, that we sort of lose whatever that connection is as time goes on. Yeah. But when you're younger, if you can recall any of that, it's genius, because it's almost, for me, for some reason, I can recall a lot of the visions, and it was almost like I saw flashes of what was to come, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I always feel like the younger the body, the older the soul.
Yeah. Amazing. I feel like there's so much spiritual stuff that we could talk about and delve into. And I want to give you ladies an opportunity. I'm going to share something to you with you in an email. I've got a spiritual summit coming up, and I would love to invite all 3 of you to be speakers there. I'll probably put snippets from this there, but it'd be better to have you guys actually there. So I'll make sure I send you links on that, because I would love for you all to be participants of that. You've got so much knowledge to share with other people. And I just want to thank you all for being here with me today. My Sag, my 2 Leos. Thank you. Thank you for showing up on an Aquarius full moon. How perfect to have Leos and Saggies with me. Love it. Love it. So it has been a blessing. Much love to you. I'll definitely reach out to all of you to get you into the summit. And you've got the links there. Thank you. I see some of the links for your websites. I'll make sure I share these also on the YouTube channel. I gave you guys the YouTube channel. Make sure you share that with your followers. So the way I like to do it is we party on out. So I'm going to put the music on so we can party on out of here. Much love to you, girls. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.